Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like.
Welcome back to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. It's the place you want to be to hear one-of-a-kind POV. As always, I'm your host, Justin Stuckey, and we're back for the solo episodes. Where have I been? What have I been doing? I was in San Francisco. I was in Connecticut. I was in Atlanta. I was in Nashville. I was all over the place. But let's start with San Francisco. Super Bowl experience. First time on Radio Row. Last year, I was in New Orleans, and I was outside the building. Couldn't get in. No access, no pass. Literally was sitting on the curb. Saw Jameis Winston come by, Champ Bailey come by. Agent couldn't get me in. Nobody could get me in. And I said right there in New Orleans, I would never be on the outside looking in again. And this year, I was in there. All the way from Alabama to San Francisco. It was time for me to make my debut at Radio Row. Didn't really know what to expect. Saw some videos online, TikTok, YouTube. I knew there was going to be potential for a big week. But it was all up to me. I didn't have Stuck in My Thoughts in its own section. Didn't get that. But I had a credential. I had an opportunity. I had the camera, the mic, and we made something shake. It was a great opportunity, honestly. If you're not familiar with Radio Row, it is where the media hub for the Super Bowl is. You have all types of shows from SiriusXM, Pat McAfee, the NFL, to smaller productions, different podcasts. Cam Newton's podcast was there. I Am Athlete was there, giving so many shout outs. Some students, I see some universities and colleges out there. That was pretty cool to see the young journalists making their way up and being on that stage. I was not aware of any of this when I was in college, so shout out to you guys out there. But you have stars, current, former NFL players who are not playing in the Super Bowl walking around, NBA players, WWE stars, everybody. I got a chance to interview Demario Davis, Damien Harris, Vick, Hendon Hooker. Who else was on the list? Matt Forte, Brandon Graham from the Eagles, Blankenship from the Eagles, Baron Davis. Also got to interview the Bella Twins. If you know me, you know I love WWE. You probably can see behind me. That was a great experience. And all those opportunities were presented to me, and I took advantage of them. Vick. The story is crazy. I see him walking across to go do an interview, and I kind of wait in the hallway, the walkway section. It's pretty cluttered on Radio Row. I see one of his people walk through. I was like, hey, are you with Coach Vick? And she was like, yeah. I was like, do you mind if I ask him one question about his experience being at Norfolk State, his head coaching debut? What is his reflection? What's his thoughts on it? She was like, okay, we'll see. I'm going to go back because he has to go to Cam Newton's show. And we'll see. She goes back. Vick finishes. She walks past me and says, we're going to do Cam Newton. We're going to come back to you. Then we got to go to SiriusXM. So I had to be ready. I'm waiting. Got my tripod. Got my camera set up. And then there was a guy walking and kind of eyeing me down. And you know that weird feeling where you know somebody wants to say something, but they don't. And you kind of have to be the one to strike up the conversation. That's what I had to do. And he kind of slid me his card, told me about his business or whatever the case may be. Nice guy, a little socially awkward. That's fine. I'll hold a conversation with anybody. But he was right here. And right behind him, I could see Vick and his people walking towards me. And in my mind, I was like, brother, man, whatever you're saying is all well and good, but I'm going to need you to get out the way. And so I told him, I was like, hey, I'm about to interview Coach. Do you mind stepping on the other side of the camera? And it seems like the world kind of stood still, but at the same time, everybody migrated to where I was in interviewing Coach Vick. Coach talking to his friends, and the lady who I spoke to earlier said, you ready? Time for one question. We got to go to SiriusXM. I'm over here getting the mic ready, trying to get the camera ready. And good thing he was talking to his friend because I needed that extra 10 seconds. He comes over, and there are so many people behind the camera. There's probably like 30 people behind the camera. There's 4 different photographers. And I'm like, what's up, coach? I had met Vick previously in 2023 at the NIL Summit, but I didn't really have time to be able to make that reconnection. And so I was like, what's going on, coach? And I just kind of went into the interview. And I had to get his attention because he was looking over to the right where his friend was. And I had to stall a little bit like, what's going on, coach? How you doing? And then go into my question. Went and did my question. He had a really good response, actually. Just an authentic, genuine response about his thoughts on his first year. It didn't really go as planned, but it's a learning curve. Gave his thoughts. And then I was so tempted to ask another question, but I stuck to my word, just asked the one question, thanked him for his time. Boom. That was it. So Radio Row was a dub. Honestly, the interviews, if you haven't seen them, go check them out on my profile. They're collaborated with Stuck in My Thoughts on Instagram. Things are great. I got to see some friends that I knew. Shout out Titus Gardner. Shout out Clifford Taylor doing big things. I also got to see my dog, Laura Rutledge. At this point, like my big sister, mentor, all wrapped in one. We went to the Toyota girls flag football event. It was glow in the dark. Really cool to see the young female athletes ball out. They were doing their thing. But we had to go back. And so me and Laura ended up walking through San Francisco. And if you know anything about San Francisco, if you've been, it's an interesting place to say the least. Closer to the bridge, nice, looks like Full House, all well and good. In the city, in the downtown area, does not look like that at all. It actually is the opposite of what you think. Large homeless population, and I know everybody has their own story of why they got to where they are, but it's a lot of fiends out there. I'm not even gonna lie. And so we get to walking out of the building, and I don't know where I'm going. She kind of knows where she's going. We're walking, and I'm like, man, I could get in an Uber and go back to my hotel right now because it's kind of far. But I'm not about to let her walk by herself in this crazy city. And so we get to walk, and she's like, oh, where's your hotel? I was like, look, Laura, I'm walking you back to the hotel. We walk back, have great conversation. If you know about my story, she's one of the first people I reached out to when I was interested in sports media. Didn't expect her to respond to my DM. She responded. We've really been tight ever since. So San Francisco, all in all, was a dub. And it was a great experience because, like I said, last year, I was on the outside looking in, didn't know how stuff worked, how to get the credential process, all of that stuff. And I told myself I was not going to be on the outside looking in. I wasn't. I was in there. But something that really struck me was I still received a lot of no's, even while being in the building. And one phrase or question I kept hearing when I tried to ask people about doing an interview, talking to their talent or whatever the case may be was, who are you with? In this society, in this world, they want to know if you're with a big brand, a big company. They want to get your name out there, or they want to know who you are so your name is out there. And for me, that was something that resonated because a lot of people will view you as smaller, but you have to tell yourself where you're headed. You may be small now, but you're going to be big next year. I remember last year I went inside, now I'm inside. Next year, Stuck in My Thoughts is going to have a spot within Radio Row for sure. And so it was just something that struck out to me. And for people out there who, you might not feel worthy, you might feel small, don't let those limitations be put on you. Keep doing your thing. I mean, the Bella twins, when I first went over to talk to them, their manager came up and that was his question, who are you with? Gave my little explanation. Boom, we got it done. They actually were going to a FIFA thing and it was live. So when you do live events, they have to be there on time and do it. If it's pre-recorded or whatever, they have time. I asked them, hey, could I interview you guys? And they were like, hey, we're about to do this live thing. Can we do it after? I was like, cool. So I was just going to wait around. And literally, I was getting my questions together on my phone. Look up and they're in my face. Hey, they're not doing the thing right now, the show right now, so we can do your interview. So I had to get myself together quick. Interview was cool. They were cool. I was able to have some rapport with them because of the former WWE superstars who I've sat down with, make that quick connection, and have the interview. And it's doing pretty well on social media. Hopefully we can have them on the show to sit down. Got in touch with their people, their manager. So Scott, I believe it's Scott, responded to my text, hit me back. But all in all, it was good. I just understand that there are more steps to go. Being in the building, not good enough. What's the next step for me? Getting stuck in my thoughts. in a big platform within Radio Row. Get a spot, have guests. It's all about learning, all about self-improvement, continuous improvement. So no matter where you are right now, continue to put one foot in front of the other, be better than you were the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before. Keep going. But all in all, Radio Row was a dub. Like I said, been traveling, was in San Francisco. I went to Connecticut. I went and sat down with somebody for Stuck in My Thoughts. I don't know when this is coming out, so I can't say the guest yet, but stay tuned because that was a really fun episode. Then I went to Atlanta to fly out to Connecticut. And then I went to Nashville. I went to Nashville on Sunday, the Lord's Day. And the Lord's Creation put on a master class on that basketball court. And his creation was everybody on the court. But Mikayla Blake's different beast on that court. I had heard about her. Honestly, I heard about her because he dropped like 55 on Auburn last year. And I was like, dang, it just had to be my team. Why she had to go crazy like that? And so I had an opportunity to go watch her, Vanderbilt versus Kentucky, number 5 versus number 16. And I said, I want to see what she does in person. You know, you can see people on TV, hear about them, but it's different watching somebody do their thing in person. So I go to the game, and she honestly, man, is like a silent assassin. She was really she was off ball a lot, playing with number 3, Galvin, who honestly is like a little Calvin Cambridge out there, is doing her thing. But she is getting it done on both ends of the floor. You can tell she's the leader. She's always vocal. She's talking with her coach, relaying the messages to her teammates, making sure things are in order. But she's a silent assassin and sneaky because it got to a point in the game, I didn't even realize how many points she had. I looked up at the scoreboard. She had 27. I was like, dang, like she is balling, man, getting it done on all 3 levels. She really creates and draws a lot of fouls. That's what I noticed about her game. She gets the ball in her hands. She's going to make that initial defender move side to side. She gets past them, and she's going to draw the contact. She gets it done to free throw line, layups, mid-range in the three-point game. But the way she orchestrates the team, and they have so much belief, that was the most impressive thing to me. She had 38 points on the night, 1-point game win, 80-79, continuing to put her team in a great position going into March, into the tournament. I believe right now they'll be the 2 seed, just depending on how it all shakes out. We got 4 or 5 more games left, so it was good to see Mikayla Blake's in person. She silenced any doubt I had in my head. She is the real deal. Her coach, I saw a quote. Her coach was like, she's an MFer, but in a good way. And I think that's an accurate description. She's a baller. She does her thing. So to me, honestly, bro, I've said this on record. Like, women's basketball, especially SEC women's basketball, has been so entertaining on so many levels, so many facets. But with players like that, that's what brings out that awareness for the uneducated of the game, the people who really aren't so sold on women's sports, because it really shouldn't be a trend, but it is a growing trend right now. And with the SEC and the women's basketball landscape, it's just different right now. I'm so excited for not only the tournament, for the conferences, but March Madness as a whole, because you're going to have some go-getters going head-to-head, the best basketball, the best players on display. But Mikayla Blake's, you get all my respect. Keep it up. And staying on the course of basketball, I haven't gone out publicly and talked about my Auburn Tigers on the men's basketball side this year. I've heard so many opinions, statements, honestly, just idiotic remarks by many of my Auburn faithful. You guys need to just pipe down. Auburn's team last year is so different in so many ways than the team this year. And I know you're like, Stuck, obviously, they were better. This team is not as good. That's not what I'm saying. You got a different head coach. That's number one. Bruce retires, honestly, really late, right before the season. Steven comes in. The staff stays the same. You take around 10 people off of last year's team, 10 new people on this team. There's only one returning starter, Ty Pettiford, who was a part of a team where he had a specific role. Last year's team, everybody knew what they were supposed to do and what they were capable of. There are instances where you have to step up in a major way, but for Tahad, there was no pressure. You look at the Houston game, I believe 21 in that game, no pressure. You're coming in as a freshman, you're just balling, doing your thing. Janai Broom was the guy. There's not that pressure. This year, he's still honestly trying to figure out what his role is. You got Keyshawn Hall coming in, who right now on paper is our best player. He's their best player. I got to get to saying that. He is their best player. He is the bucket. I think Tahad has to continue to learn in the system of how he's going to continue to facilitate, when he's going to score. He's a scoring guard, New York kid, baller. But this team is still finding an identity, and it takes time. I think the Auburn fans have just been so spoiled. You go from a Final Four a year ago, you've had so much success, a Final Four in 2019. You're used to things being a certain way, but you got to understand, man, a team dynamic, a team chemistry, it changes every year. But with this much change, it was bound to be different. But they picked up a huge win against Kentucky at home. 1 point. I was watching the game on my way back from Atlanta. I flew from Connecticut to Atlanta, drove from Atlanta to Birmingham. I was watching the game as I was traveling. Don't recommend watching the Auburn basketball game while we're driving, but that's a story for another day. But they had me on the edge of my seat. Toss up between the call at the end, push off or not. I think Auburn definitely got lucky. They definitely capitalized. It was a must win because going from a Final Four to not making that NCAA tournament is not ideal. And especially for the impatient Auburn faithful, you got to get a dub. But in the end, Auburn stepped up, got a big win against a great Kentucky team, coached well by Mark Pope. He just got fined for his remarks, but it is what it is. Auburn's got 4 games left on the season at Oklahoma, home versus Ole Miss, home versus LSU, and at Alabama. I think all of these games are winnable. You've lost to Bama, who had a pro player on the team. Bediako's not there. He had 12 points in the last game against Auburn at home, which they lost. These are all winnable games. These are also must-win games. Definitely have to win 3 out of the 4 to lock yourself in for this tournament. These home games, without question, have to be won. I think Oklahoma would be a dub. Bama, you got to win that rivalry. You have to avenge a loss from earlier in the season and really make a statement of the pro player on the court is the one that made the difference. But without him, you guys can be able to make an impact. But I think with Stephen Pearl continuing to challenge his team and seeing how the players respond is ultimately going to decide what they're able to do in the tournament anyway, whether it's a conference tournament, because I still think the SEC men's basketball conference tournament is a toss-up. It's up in the air. It's not like the women's basketball side. I think South Carolina, maybe Texas are the front runners there, and LSU. But I think for the men's side, anybody can win, anybody can lose. But when you're talking about March, you got to be on your A game. You got to be gelled. You got to be one. But all in all, I think Stephen Pearl and the staff are doing a great job. I think the team is still trying to find their identity, their stride, who's going to play what role. And there's only one person who's had big game experience, and that's Tahad. Major game experience. Everybody else is still, this is their first time here. Going to the jungle is a whole different atmosphere. Having the expectations off of a team who was just at the Final Four is a whole different way of life of playing college basketball than what they were used to. So it's going to take time. They're going to be all right. You got to win 3 out of 4 to be a lock, and you'll be all right. So I want to touch on more of a somber note. It's been in the news. It's been in the forefront, but the main thing is men's mental health. And this is a topic that is starting to be addressed more, but it hasn't been addressed enough. And not just addressed, but actually finding the solution and bringing it all together. We saw that former Purdue standout NFL player Rondell Moore took his life. He was found at his home, passed away a few days ago. And the trend over the past months has been insane, honestly, to see these young men who are at the highest level in what they're able to do, continuously being able to show up, put on a great show on the field or whatever respective sport that they're doing, ultimately be succumbed to the pain that they're dealing with, the anxieties that they're dealing with, the fear, and it ultimately ends up with them taking their life. You look at the Rondell Moore situation, the Marshawn Nealon, the Kyron Lacey. These are guys who, in many people's eyes, are superheroes, professional athletes, star college athletes. Kyron Lacey was about to go to the league, about to get drafted. And it's really a shame. And I hate the fact that all the stuff that they were going through on their own in silence, they felt like not being here was the best solution. And I know that there were people in their corners. I know that there were people rooting for them. But it hurts me the most to know that in that moment, they didn't feel that support. They didn't feel that help. And I know for the NFL players out there, I've seen some statements where they said the NFL really doesn't support these athletes. Looking at the LSU situation, the coaches didn't support Kyron Lacey in that manner. Not all coaches, but there's just been talks. And I hate the fact that, you really just don't know. We always say check in on your people, see how they're doing. But I think it's just so cliche when everybody just goes about their day and just say, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? I saw this one time and it said, don't ask somebody how they're doing if you're not ready for the real response. How are you going to handle when you ask somebody how they're doing and they give you a real response? Man, I'm not doing good at all. My life is in shambles. I don't feel support here. I'm thinking of doing this, doing that. Are you able to handle that? And I think that tells a lot about yourself. How are you going to be willing to be in somebody's corner? It sucks, man, because mental health is a huge thing. As for the men's side, nobody really talks about it, man. We've been equipped, we've been trained since we were kids. Show no weakness. You have to be tough. You have to be this way. You have to fight through the pain. And for a Rondell Moore, somebody who was a superstar, larger than life for a lot of fans, a lot of athletes out there, he battled a lot of injuries. His trajectory didn't necessarily go the way he wanted it to. But honestly, that's life. Things happen that way. And, I hated the fact that, whatever he was feeling at the time, he just felt like that was the best decision. That was the only resort, because you have options. Your life is worth living and you should continue to live. And I think that as we talk about it more, and not only talk about it, but find the real solution to help these athletes out, because really just humans out, because take the athlete part off of it. At the end of the day, people are human. People go through things that you see and you don't see. You got to check in with your people. You have to make them feel validated, make them feel supported, so they can be able to do what they need to do at the highest level. And this is just a subject I've been stuck in my thoughts about for a long time, because you hear about it and you're like, dang, you're not in those circles. I didn't know any of these guys personally, but you hear about it, it's like, man, I thought things were going good, but you never really understand what somebody's going through. And that's why it's important to check in with them, check on them, make sure your mental is okay, because if you're always checking on somebody, who's checking on you? And so you want to make sure you're all well equipped to be able to do your thing. And I just think that especially in this day and age of social media, there's so many positive, but way more negative things thrown at you, whether it's fans upset with performances, whether it's your own goals and expectations that you have on yourself, family. We talk about this NIL, people getting paid, but these athletes have a lot of responsibility, not only to take care of themselves, but for the people around them, the people who were raising them growing up, or the people who all of a sudden showed up and want something. I think that there's a lot more pressures than people talk about. And I think the conversations that we continue to have and shed light on this will be huge. For many cases, especially these are all football players I mentioned, there is a CTE component to it. There's no doubt about it. Usually with the older football players, the former football players, Junior Seau is somebody who comes to mind. But I believe that there has to be an actual support there, not just talking about it, not just, the men's or the mental health awareness month is great. But if you don't actually do something to help improve that, it really doesn't mean anything. I think of growing up when we play football and it'd be breast cancer awareness month and everybody wearing pink. Everybody likes to wear pink and we know the cause, but it doesn't hit the same if, number one, you don't know anybody who's affected by breast cancer. It's not going to hit the same. You just want to wear the flashy pink gloves, the spats, all that. It doesn't hit the same. And it also doesn't hit the same if there's no donation behind it to help find a cure. If there's nobody putting in time and effort to be able to help the people who are currently going through that diagnosis. Same way with the mental health. What are we currently doing to help these human beings out to make sure that we don't keep losing these people? I woke up this morning and saw that the actor from the Lizzie McGuire show, the dad, he passed away. He took his life, and that's crazy. Like, I remember watching him growing up, and like I said, you don't know what people are going through. Obviously, that's a character he's playing his role, but he battled bipolar symptoms for a decade or two. Like, I never even knew that. And so I think it just says something for people who, at this point now, how are we going to learn from what is happening? How are we going to continue to make a positive impact and change the direction of what we're seeing? Because, man, these young brothers, these young athletes, these humans, these people out here who feel like that's the only solution, it's sad to see. And we need to help change that narrative. Understand your life is worth living. There are other ways to get over the adversity, get over this mountain, and then you look back and you'll be glad that you did it. It's for people who, have had their finger on that trigger, who've thought about jumping off that cliff and didn't. It's really for those people to help speak up as well who've been in that situation. I know there are people out there, but, we really need to take a stride towards changing this narrative and actually making an impact, actually doing something to help these human beings who face these trials understand your life is worth living and you got to keep going. And for the people who are adding on to the negative, the pain, the anxiety, just got to stop. And that goes to my next point. Looking at the BAFTA, Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo were at the BAFTA Awards. That's the British Academy of Film and Television Awards out in London. They're on stage making a presentation. And John Davidson, who suffers from Tourette syndrome, screams out a racial slur, the N-word. If you don't know what the N-word is and a racial slur, you need to look it up. But it's something that we, as Black people, have faced for 400 years, hearing these crazy sayings and all types of stuff thrown our way. And they're on stage, and I give props to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo for staying professional. In that situation, man, what can you do? And I know Delroy came out and said, we did what we had to do. You stay professional. You continue to keep your chin up and take the higher road. This is Black History Month, and we're still facing these things, a constant reminder each and every day. And for Mr. Davidson, he has Tourette syndrome. If you don't know about Tourette's, it's, the tics, blurting out stuff, saying things. It can be on a wide range. And I'm not the most educated when it comes to Tourette syndrome. But for Mr. Davidson or for the BAFTA Awards, there has to be something in place in case this were to happen. Of course, nobody expects to get called the N-word on stage while you're presenting an award. But this program was on a 2-hour delay. There was an opportunity to cut this stuff out before it was aired. There should have been something in play. The Davies brothers, I hope I'm saying that right. The Daves brothers, two Nigerian brothers, they're on stage giving their acceptance speech, and their phrase "Free Palestine" was cut out of the program. And it just baffles me that was cut out, but this slur was not. Like I said, it's on the delay. TV is never live, ever. Worked in TV, there's a delay. This one had a 2-hour delay from the research I've done. And they didn't find this necessary to cut out. It just says a lot about the organization and really the world as a whole. I'm not going to condemn Davidson. You know, if that is a legitimate tick and that is what just happens to come out, then I still think that he probably should not have been in attendance. If you know that there is a potential for you to say that, I don't think you should be in attendance. And then for BAFTA, guys should have cut that out. Has to leave, or you got to do something with that programming. But shout out to Michael B. Jordan, man. Shout out to Delroy, Lindo, two great humans. I'm on the human, man. Two great humans, two great actors. They're great at their craft. I applaud them for staying professional, doing what they got to do, and not letting the hate change who they are. A lot of times in this world, we try to fight hate with hate. It's not going to work. I love how they stay professional, did what they had to do, got off stage. But going forward, man, we got to change. We have to change a lot. And it's Black History Month, and we're still talking about the same things year after year after year. But props to those brothers. Keep your head up. Keep leading the way for people like me and others in the world. And for the negatives and the hate and the slurs and all these type of things that are received, don't let it get to you. I know it's easier said than done, but continue to battle that stuff with love and compassion and not let yourself get out of character. And it's something that is always a constant reminder, because you never think it's going to be you until it is. And it might not even be something about you. It might be something for somebody associated with you. I saw that Nina Westbrook, the wife of Russell Westbrook, received a crazy email. I'm going to read what the email said. 9:48 p.m. We in bed. We brushing our teeth, chilling, get ready, and she gets this email. First off, the subject of the email is F you. That's crazy. Joel Molina. And it says, your piece of effing stuff husband sucks. Too effing bad. Can't even get 10 points. It's pathetic. I hope you both die in a car crash. You dumb B word. Sent from iPhone. First off, this is a real sucker move. You find it, I don't know how he got in touch with Nina Westbrook on her email, but you're emailing a player's wife because you're upset that he ain't help you get that parlay. This is one of the main reasons I hate sports gambling and sports betting, bro. Why are you putting your money and basing it predicated off what somebody else does? Go get you a Roth IRA. Go learn stocks. Go put your money in something that's going to help you make some money. Like go get educated. I really am not a fan of sports betting, to be honest, at all. But it takes it a whole step further when not only you're not even going at the person who you're mad at. You're going to somebody who has nothing to do with the situation. You're going to his wife. That's a sucker move, bro. If you have something to say, go straight to Westbrook. Still think it's whack, but if you got something to say, go straight to Westbrook. And the reason he didn't go straight to Westbrook is because he know what would have happened, bro. People in today's day and age love hiding behind the screen, burner accounts, different profiles, emailing, because you know you're not face to face. I would have loved if he had went up to Russell Westbrook face to face. Even if he don't need to do this, but even if he had went up to Nina Westbrook face to face, this whole dynamic would have changed. And I think people need to be held accountable for their actions, for their decisions. You can't do stuff like that. And that's why I think people, they put these professional athletes on this pedestal because of the great work that they do at their craft, but they act like they aren't human beings at the end of the day. You wouldn't talk to nobody like that who lived in your neighborhood, who you worked with. You wouldn't do stuff like that. You know, if somebody at your work didn't meet a deadline, are you going to go email their wife? Probably not. So I think society just has to get real, honestly, because people have gotten so accustomed to hiding behind the phone screen and saying whatever they want and feeling like they don't have to have any consequences. But when I was brought up, and how a lot of the people I'm around think, you get punched in the face for that. And I think, Joel, whatever your name is, if that's your real name, you need to get punched in the face. And I just don't like that dynamic. For Nina Westbrook, I apologize on his behalf. For Russell Westbrook, he just happens to be my favorite player of all time. And I think even if it was, I don't know, Brian Scalabrine, some name came up to my mind. Dennis Rodman, it don't even matter. Somebody who I'm not necessarily a huge fan of. Like, no matter who you are, you could be the mailman. I don't think this should happen to anybody. But for my boy Russ, man, keep doing what you're doing. I hate how people have just continued to act like Russell Westbrook isn't one of the greatest point guards of all time. And honestly, a great person. He doesn't do anything but compete hard. He's just a dog on the floor. He competes. He wants to win. He wants to be the best he can be. And then off the court, his husband, good father, talks about, his son did a drawing. I believe he wore a shirt one time. And people were disrespecting his name. I hate the West Brick. Like, why are y'all calling people that? Like, call him by his real name. Respect the man. He's just doing his thing. He's literally doing his job. People don't understand. His job is to play basketball at the highest level he can play it. Provide for his family. And he just lives life. I mean, I never understood the hate around any player like this, but especially Russell Westbrook, bro. He doesn't do anything crazy, bro. He just wants to enjoy life and hoop. So, to the Westbrooks, I apologize for this idiot. And for the people out there who feel bold enough that they want to send an email like that, send a text, how about you just go try to say it to their face and see what happens? Because I guarantee you're probably not going to like the result. You're probably going to get punched in the face. And this helps segue to my next point and my final point. The people that'll punch you in the face are from the WWE. If you know me, huge WWE fan, said it at the beginning, got a chance to interview the Bella Twins, Infinity Stone interview for sure. But WWE, their best wrestler in the game right now doesn't even have a title. And his name is Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick is going all over the place. He's on a generational run. He got the call up from NXT to the main roster, killing it, coming in all white, the anointed one, the lemon pepper steppers. He's on a generational run on the media tour right now. Come on, Stuck in My Thoughts. We'll have a great time. But he's balling, man. He's the most over in the business right now, and there's no doubt about it. For the people who don't know what over means, he's the most popular. The fans vibe with him the most. He did a promo last night in Atlanta, and when a promo is when they have the microphone talking, a speech essentially, hype thing. He guts his promo, and at the end, he said they ain't going to be saying yeet, they ain't going to be saying yeah, but they going to be saying a whole lot of what in Chicago. And the fans, he didn't have to say anything. The fans go, whoop that Trick, whoop that Trick. This dude, his aura is different. He is a good blend of The Rock and Booker T, all in one, but he makes it his own. I got a chance to see Trick Williams last summer in a high school rec center basketball gym. Come out there. He was a TNA champ at the time. It was an NXT live show in a rec center. I'm telling you, I seen the goals on the ceiling. Comes out there, and the energy didn't drop off. Actually, he came out, got on the mic, said he didn't like the entrance, then went back and did the entrance again. His energy is different. I rock with Trick Williams, man. The crowd love him. The fans love him. Seems like WWE is using him in the right direction. Shout out to Javon Evans, who I also saw at the high school rec gym. And I was like, dang, who is this really athletic guy? He's over in the company right now. But Trick Williams, bro, is on a different level. Former South Carolina Gamecock, so he's got the athletic background. He is engaged to Lash Legend, who was a baller at Texas A&M, on the Seattle Storm in the WNBA. Their kids are going to be different beasts whenever that time comes. But Trick Williams, He's not even the future, bro. He is the now of WWE, period. And WWE's trying to do so many other great things, but sometimes you have to shift focus. And it started with the vision. And honestly, bro, the vision has turned into the vacancy because everybody's hurt. Seth Rollins is out. Braun Breaker is out. Bronson Reed just got hurt. I heard he's out 4 to 6 months. It ain't working. That is got to get scrapped. I'm sorry. Austin Theory has come back. I don't know what his character is. You got Logan Paul, who honestly, bro, people need to give him his props, bro. Logan Paul came into the WWE, zero experience. And honestly, he, without a doubt, in my opinion, he's the greatest celebrity wrestler to ever come into the WWE. His skill set, different. Work ethic, different. He got a ring at his home in Puerto Rico. Different, bro. I'm going to give Logan Paul his props. I didn't meet him, but we were at Fanatics Fest together, going around doing Fanatics games. But they got to scrap division because it ain't working. Seth Rollins still doing interviews. Seth Rollins, brother, respond to my DM. Like, you see it. I see that you see it. Like, you liked one of them, but like, respond to the other ones. Like, I will come wherever to do to sit down with you. Just saw you on Shannon Sharp, but I met you at Super Bowl in New Orleans. I'd like to sit down with you on Stuck in My Thoughts. Pull up, bro. And there's somebody else I want to get on the show. AJ Styles. AJ Styles retires from the WWE. I don't know if he's retired from wrestling. I think so, but he's definitely retired from WWE. Gunther, who I don't like at all, more so because he retired John Cena, but I still don't like Gunther like that. He retired AJ Styles, Saudi Arabia. AJ Styles started to put his gloves in the ring, didn't do it, but they saved it for Atlanta, where he lives. He's a Georgia boy. He gets his flowers at Monday Night Raw. He announces his retirement. He got his family ringside. He has all the WWE superstars from the back come out, give him his flowers. He gives his speech. Then you hear the gong. Boom. It's the Undertaker. Lights drop. Undertaker pulls up in the motorcycle. And honestly, I thought we was getting a Taker AJ part 2. That's the way Undertaker started that promo. I was like, dang, like, let's run it back. But he ends up flipping the script and telling AJ Styles he's getting inducted into the class of 2026 WWE Hall of Fame. So, AJ Styles, congratulations. The phenomenal one from your time in TNA, all over the country, to your debut with WWE at Royal Rumble 2016, to now you've consistently put on a show. I love the athleticism. As soon, bro, when AJ Styles debuted, bro, I was so hyped because number one, his theme music, super underrated. His athleticism, bro, at his age is crazy. Like, he's been putting on the show for a long time, and to be able to do it under 2 different brands, not even brands, companies, TNA and then with WWE, and in my opinion, they're 2 separate. Like, he's still the phenomenal one, but they're 2 separate people, and he was able to elevate on both. Like, it just was a different level of dedication to your craft, different level of adaptability, the evolution of his style and of his game, bro. So definitely a great career. TBD, if I'll be in Vegas this year for WrestleMania, I want to attend the Hall of Fame ceremony if I do go out there. But AJ Styles is going to be there, man. And it's well-deserved. It's well-earned. And I'm so excited to see the new wave come in. I mentioned Trick Williams and Javon Evans, but we getting old. A lot of our stars are retiring. But the new age, I think that they're going to be able to do some damage. All in all, we had a lot to catch up on. Stuck in My Thoughts has hit a crossroads to we either going to do it or we ain't. And we going to do it. We're going to have the guests. We're going to have the solo episodes. We're going to have so much more. We're going to take this thing bigger and better. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this segment. We catch you guys for the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We out of here.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah.